The US Copyright Office has made a statement on the status of AI art under American law. Let's find out what they said. Okay, the US Copyright Office, the short version, and there's a lot more depth than this, has said the AI generated images do not qualify for copyright protection at all. In a decision that could have far-reaching implications for artists, the US Copyright Office, the USCO, has stated the AI-generated images are not protectable under current copyright law as they are not the product of human authorship. So there you go. This would seem to indicate if it's straight out of an AI engine, you can't copyright it. Now, I'm not a lawyer, but I do know when it comes to music, you need to change things roughly 25%. So I'm guessing it's probably the same. Let's find out. So what's the context for the office's decision? The USCO's decision came after revisiting the copyright of the graphic novel Zariah of the Dawn. According to the office, copyright protection was granted to the book's author, Chris Kashtanova, still crap at names, in error, as the original copyright included all of the images in the book which were generated using Midjourney AI software. Although the images cannot be copyrighted, the USCO did state that Kashtanova can copyright the parts of the book which she wrote and how the AI generated images were arranged on the page. It's similar to a trademark. Copyright and trademark are two entirely different things. It's why, in a few years' time, Superman goes out of copyright. However, while you could use the character Superman, you could not use the S on his chest, the Superman logo, because that's all a trademark. Trademarks never expire. Is there a precedent for the decision? Explaining its reasoning, the USCO cited the Compendium of the US Copyright Office Practices, which states that copyrights will be refused for any work not created by humans. So, a lot of people were right. Can't copyright them. Examples provided included an application for a song naming the Holy Spirit as the author. What, fucking really? That's nearly killed me, that one. And a photograph taken by a monkey. Oh, we all remember that one. Yes. This means that the office decision applies to other AI-generated content such as stories, screenplays, and articles pieced together by AI programs such as ChatGPT. Why was the copyright issued in the first place? According to the USCO, in the original filing, Kashtanova had not disclosed that the book's artwork was created using Midjourney. The office only learned about the use of AI from later social media posts made by Kashtanova to promote the book. After the discovery, USCO wrote to the author and told her that she'd need to provide additional information to avoid copyright being cancelled entirely. So, the moral of this story is, if you're using an AI, don't fucking tell anybody. If she hadn't said anything and hadn't went, ooh, look how clever I am, probably would have got away with it. What does this mean for the book? After Kashtanova provided the requested information in writing, the USCO rescinded the original protection and issued a new copyright that only covers the writing and the layout of the images, not the images themselves. The new copyright is retroactive to the original issue date. In other words, it goes, the original decision made an error. They've now scrubbed that, went back in time, effectively, and changed their decision. So what's next? The USCO says that in the future it will continue to register works that contain otherwise unprotectable material that has been edited, modified, or otherwise revised by a human author. That's the important part. They don't say by how much so far, do they? Kashtanova tweeted that she's considering how to move forward, arguing that the Midjourney images were a direct expression of my creativity and they're copyrightable. Bullshit. For things to be clearer in the future, a more concrete standard of how much human input is needed to constitute something being the product of human authorship may be needed to be established. Yeah, damn skippy it is. Because at the moment, does that mean I've made one stroke, now a product of a human? Or do you need to do 10%, 25%, which it is in sort of music and a lot of other things? 50%, 90%? They need to give some numbers here. Is she right? In my opinion, fucking no. Are AI images a direct expression of an individual's creativity? Not according to the USCO. The office argued that unlike a photographer, Midjourney users have very limited control of the final images. And this will apply to other AI art generations as well, by the way. Photographers can manipulate framing, lighting, subject, exposure time, depth of field, composition, and more when creating a photograph. According to the USCO, the process by which a Midjourney user obtains an ultimate satisfactory image through the tool is not the same as that of a human artist, writer, or photographer. The initial prompt by the user generates 4 different images based on Midjourney's training data. While additional prompts applied to one of these initial images can influence the subsequent images, the process is not controlled by the user because it is not possible to predict what Midjourney will create ahead of time. Yeah. You've got no idea what's going to pop out. Bit like a baby, really, isn't it? What does this decision mean for artists? Well, I'll tell you what it means. You can't just take stuff out of an AI engine and slap a copyright on it and go, yay, money. As with most precedents being established regarding AI at the moment, it's still hard to tell. According to Midjourney's general counsel, Max Sills, doesn't that sound like that's a typical lawyer name, isn't it, really? USCO's decision was a great victory for Chris, Midjourney, and artists. It still says that the Copyright Office is clearly saying that if an artist exerts creative control over an image generating tool like Midjourney, the output is protectable. No, they're not. Is he reading a completely different thing there? What it's basically saying is if you change it enough and they're not telling you by how much that needs to be, then you can copyright it. So, still stabbing in the dark. Other AI proponents argue that USCO's ruling was a major blow to image generating software users, many of whom echo Kostanova's sentiment that AI artists do the creative heavy lifting by coming up with the ideas and text prompts used to create the images. So that's the heavy lifting, the idea, not the actual doing. Okay, it's one way of looking at it. USCO's decision could be seen as good news for human artists who will still be able to copyright their images, as the protection may increase the value of the work. Whether or not the USCO's decision is good for artists will likely only become clear over time, and may be affected by the other ongoing AI-focused legal battles, which we've covered before. Here's the thing, the only people who are going to have a problem with not being able to copyright an AI-generated image are people who are hoping to make money out of it. Maybe they're going to go online and go to one of the many print-on-demand services and have posters, framed posters, and sell them, and think this will make me a millionaire. It won't. Trust me, it won't. I've tried. Not with AI images, by the way, with my own. They're the only people that are going to have a problem with it. All the people that have appeared in the comments that I would call proponents of AI, and I don't mean that in a negative way or a positive way, just statement of fact. A lot of them have said, but yes, it means we can get to be artists now. Okay? In that case, you should have no problem with not being able to copyright it. Because if you're truly doing it for fun and to enjoy yourself and express yourself, why would you have a problem if you can't monetize it? Now, someone's going to say, yeah, but artists can monetize their stuff. Yes. If I start creating something over there right now on my computer, I'm starting from scratch. I know exactly in my head what I'm aiming for. I can influence every single part of it. Every pixel, every placement, the lighting, the whole lot. The same way a photographer can compose a scene. They have control over everything in. Yeah, they're using something as a person or a location, but they have control over how it's portrayed. I said the raw video of these is filmed in log. If I switch over to it now, this is what it looks like before I start editing and grading. And that's what it looks like when I'm finished. That's creative. Not massively creative, because this is a YouTube video. But hopefully I'm making my point. What I'm saying here is, yes, it's good that you can't copyright AI art, and I'll tell you why, because otherwise people in, whether it's China or rich people in a basement in Australia, will have a bank of computers and they will be setting these away time after time after time after time after time and just coming up with every possible permutation. In fact, I've got a really good video I'm going to do about this subject. Right, I'm Wayne Robson. This has been Life After 3D. In fact, if you want to find out a little bit more about AI, just click the video there that's appearing right on my left. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.